Brewer.
Talofa lava, Mr Speaker. Distinguished guests, Your Excellency Samoa's High Commissioner to New Zealand. Thank you for your submissions. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your belief in the process. And thank you for your graciousness. The National Party is pleased, very pleased, to support this third reading of the Citizenship Western Samoa Restoration Amendment Bill. We believe we have landed at a good place after a lot of work from a lot of people. The bill will restore New Zealand citizenship to individuals born in Western Samoa between 13 May 1924 and 1 January 1949, yet were not in New Zealand in 1982, whose citizenship was removed with the 1982 Citizenship Western Samoa Act. The House's intention is clear, the Select Committee's intention is clear. We are ring-fencing a cohort of now very special elderly people, possibly up to 3,500 individuals, and only those directly affected will be eligible as of right for citizenship by grant, not their descendants. By ring-fencing, Mr Speaker, by ring-fencing the eligible 1924 to 48 cohort, we have done something, as I've said before, that no New Zealand Parliament has done in the 42 years since the Privy Council decision. We are acknowledging what many lost today, what many lost when the 1982 Parliament unanimously voted to rule those living in New Zealand at the time citizens, but not those living in Samoa or elsewhere. One historical perspective, Mr Speaker, that continues to be perpetuated, including in the New Zealand media today, was that it was the Muldoon government alone that overturned the Privy Council's ruling through the 1982 legislation to take away that citizenship. Taking away that citizenship in 1982 was a unanimous decision by this Parliament, with Bill Rolling's Labor Party and Bruce Beetham's Social Credit joining the government of the day to unanimously push through that legislation. And isn't it great, sir, that 42 years later, this Parliament is united again in the restoration of citizenship? Mr Speaker, I want to pay tribute to our Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Christopher Luxon, and I also want to pay tribute to the support from senior MPs, their officers, the Honourable Nicola Willis, Shane Retty, Chris Bishop, Erica Stanford, our Department of Internal Affairs spokesperson, Chris Pink, and the Chief of Staff in the Prime Minister's office, Cam Burrows. I also want to acknowledge, Mr Speaker, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Right Honourable Winston Peters, and our Minister for Department of Internal Affairs, Brooke Van Velden. Thank you, Mr Peters, for all the work that you have done and continue to do in the Pacific as part of your Pacific Reset programme. Mr Speaker, by amending, not repealing this legislation, we have avoided violating the 1962 Protocol to the Treaty, 1962 Protocol to the Treaty of Friendship and potentially straining diplomatic relations with Samoa. With that in mind, and all that work that's been done to get us this far, I want to acknowledge the sponsor, Green MP Tianao Tuiona, for his work, all his work and leadership and willingness to adapt his original bill to get it over the line, before we could arguably lose what is the last chance to make a meaningful acknowledgement to this generation. I want to also thank my government colleagues, National MPs Tim Costley, Tom Rutherford, as well as New Zealand First Andy Foster, for their interrogation and hard work over many months to knock this into shape. I want to also acknowledge one of my old bosses, Arthur Anai, for all the work that he's done, the tenacity that he's shown. I remember writing research papers on this for caucus and that back in the late 1990s, and he never let it go. And as I've said before, I turned up to Auckland Council with him and he was still going on about it. And he never let it go. So thank you for all the work you've done, Arthur. I know it's not exactly what you wanted, but it's as good as we could deliver across this House, and you should be very proud. I want to also take this opportunity, Mr Speaker, to make a public service announcement of some sort, with information that I have sought from the Department of Internal Affairs today, via the Minister's office, to shine some light on how this will work in an operational sense, in a logistical sense. Assuming, Mr Speaker, that the bill is signed by the Governor-General on Monday, applications for citizenship can be received from Tuesday next week. And I want to also announce, Mr Speaker, that estimated processing times is 30 working days. But this is dependent on the volumes received and the information applicants provide. The website, the dedicated web page, Mr Speaker, will be www.govt.nz/citizenship-Samoa-pre-1949. You'll be able to find it just by going to the GOVT NZ site. Remember that, the GOVT NZ site. And that'll go live by Friday, Mr Speaker. That'll go live by Friday with the application form, information how to apply, and a contact centre live as well. People can also, their children, grandchildren, nieces and nephews, friends and themselves, people can apply in person at a DIA counter in Auckland, in Wellington, in Christchurch, in Sydney, in London, and most importantly, at the High Commission in Apia. or by, Mr. Speaker, or by mailing the application form to DIA. Information on the refunds for successful applicants, which the government and others have agreed to, refunds for successful applicants, will be on the website. So that's the information on the refunds. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a very, very historic day. And as I was just saying to my good friend Tom Rutherford, no 2 days in the New Zealand Parliament are ever alike. And so it's great to be here for this historic moment, knowing that it has been 42 years in the making. And frankly, our Prime Minister can feel proud that since 1982, after 6 Labour Prime Ministers and 4 National ones, he is the one Prime Minister who is putting his support to this. I want to also acknowledge the support and willingness of the National Caucus to back this. That is the front bench and the back bench. Mr. Speaker, 42 years in the making. And it gives me great pleasure to commend to the House the Citizenship Western Samoan Restoration Amendment Bill. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
like pat me on the back.
I mean, no, you don't get pats on the back because you know, both Labour and National implemented this the previous legislation that led to the Dawn raids. So it's like, no one gets a pat on the back. The fact that this wasn't done sooner makes you get an eyebrow raise. You don't get a pat on the back.
Yeah. Yeah, that does feel, yeah, it did feel a bit more like pat me on the back. Yeah. Nicholas, you're being quiet.
Yeah, I wonder how many people sign up for, to do the application forms. Probably quite a few Samoans.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow there's queues going outside the office and was it Samoa? Was it New Zealand High Commissioner in Samoa?
Yeah, but there's no office in Dunedin, so I have to travel to Christchurch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's no DIA office in Dunedin.
No, it used to be. Now it's in Christchurch.
Oh, that's not helpful. So if there's any Samoans in Christchurch who are eligible, not Christchurch, Dunedin, you've got to make a trip up the road that you can't do by train, that you can possibly do by plane, or how long does it take to drive?
Or a bus.
Yeah, it's yeah, I do. I've done it once, and it does feel like it does take a long time.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, like I did that day. I did Picton to Dunedin in one day, and that is longer than driving from Wellington to Auckland.
Yeah, it's a long time. Like if you're on the bus, it takes ages to get to Christchurch and a bit cramped up on the bus.
Oh yeah, I don't think I could sit there and do the bus.
You know what? I was just thinking about government apologies. The government really does owe an apology to other Pacific Islander groups that were caught up in the Dawn raids. They also owe an apology to Māori people as well, who the police back during that time told Māori people to carry a passport on them. My mother was one of those people.
I know multiple who still to this day constantly carry their passport on them from the Dawn raid eras as well, which is really sad.
It is.
Being called an illegal immigrant in your own fucking home is an insult.
Yeah.